Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, then you already know the vibe, but if it's your first time to this channel and you've never seen my face, hi, my name is Kimberly. I'm a 5th-year medical student and I create medicine, faith-based and lifestyle content. So if that is something that you're interested in, please do join the family by clicking the subscribe button. Today I want to share with you guys some of the struggles that I've had, just to encourage someone who's in medical school or who wants to be in medical school and is going to face maybe similar challenges that I face. And I don't want you to feel like you're the only one and start feeling the way I felt, because I started feeling like maybe medicine is not for me. Medical school is divided into 2 portions. You have, and for me, it was 3 portions, because I had the first year, which was pre-medicine, which means that I wasn't really in medical school. You know, I had to, it's pre-med, where you do your physiology, your mathematics. It's more like grade 12 all over again, simply because I didn't do my high school in the country where I'm doing medicine. So it's like a bridging course or whatever, however you want to look at it, right? So I didn't go straight into medicine. I started with pre-med. So that was the first third of medical school for me. That was pre-medicine. And then once I got into medical school, the other third is basically your pre-clinicals, right? This is where you do your non-practical. There's absolutely no practical work that you're doing. There's no interaction that you're having with patients. You're doing your anatomy, your physiology, your pathology, your biochemistry, you know, and it's just theory, day in, theory, day out. You never ever get to go to the hospital. These are your preclinical years. And then the last part of medical school, which is the part that I'm in, is now your clinical rotations. Your clinical rotations is now where you rotate through all the departments in the medical setting. You know, you go through obstetrics and gynecology, which has to do with labor and delivery and the vagina, basically, the female reproductive system, even the male. You go through surgery. We know surgery in itself. You go through internal medicine, pediatrics, which is a department for children. You go through dermatology, psychiatry, like all the departments that you can think of in a hospital or when it comes to health science. As a medical student, at my school, you have 3 years to rotate through all those departments. So in 4th year, I was rotating through the big 4, which is your obs and gyn, your surgery, pediatrics, and internal medicine. And that was my first time being in the hospital. That's when you actually start interacting with patients. You start being in the hospital. Now you can call yourself a doctor, because I mean, come on, you are in the hospital, you're interacting with patients, you're touching patients. It becomes real. You understand? That's the practical part of medicine. And I started that last year when I was doing my 4th year. That was my first year of clinicals. Before that, I thought like I was ready for medicine. I thought like, I can't wait, I'm excited, I want to save lives, until I started my clinical rotations. And I learned that I'm afraid of touching patients. I'm afraid of doing something wrong. And I'm afraid of hurting the patients. That's my biggest fear. And I don't know if other medical students go through the fear of what I'm talking about. But for me, it's actually become a huge obstacle, because medicine is a practice. That literally tells you how practical medicine is and requires you to be hands-on. You don't learn medicine just by reading the book, but you learn medicine by reading the book and putting what you read into practice. And that is something that I've been struggling with. In my 4th year, we had logbooks when you're going through your clinical rotations. Logbooks are basically books that have a list of procedures that you have to perform and observe. And we had to, like, there was parts for cannulating. So to cannulate, I don't know how, but like, I don't know if you guys know what cannulating is for the people that are not in medical school or that are not in the medical field. You know, when you go to the hospital and they put something so that you can receive fluids, a drip. Yeah. So that process where you're putting the needle here, it's cannulating. You get, it's not really a needle, but I hope you get my point for the people that are not in the medical field. And we're drawing blood, because you just start with minor procedures, you know, the small urinalysis and stuff. We're drawing blood basically, you know, like that's when you inject and you literally withdraw the blood using a needle and a syringe. So like just the basics, basically that's what you start like doing in your first year of clinicals. And for me, other things like small things like urinalysis, like things that did not require me to touch the patient, I was okay. But when it came to touching the patient, like withdrawing blood and cannulating and any procedure that requires me to interact, to physically like touch the patient, I chickened out. Like I was so afraid, especially for withdrawing blood. It took me 2 months after I started my clinical rotations to withdraw blood for the first time. I just literally overcame my fear. And I was like, you know what? I will never learn. And the thing is, I really, really want to know how to do it. I want to know how to do it, but I'm afraid. You get my point? And the thing is, I would read what could go wrong when you're withdrawing blood. And you know when you have a fear of something, right? That's when you start hearing those ridiculous stories. Then all of a sudden, someone sent me an article of a medical student that was withdrawing blood, and then they broke the needle by mistake in the patient's bloodstream, and then the needle went straight to the heart. I think the patient died. You know, such mistakes, a small procedure such as drawing blood, can end up in you killing the patient. And that's one thing I'm afraid of. Like, I'm so afraid of doing it wrong. And the setting that I'm doing medicine in, it's a resource limited setting. It's crazy for me to say resource limited because I feel like the resources are non-existent. But that's a talk for another day. So unlike other schools, I've seen like schools abroad. I watch a lot of medical school content, like people in the UK, even I think Cape Town University. I've been watching a lot of Becoming Dr. Andy videos and stuff, right? I've seen that they have these things that allow you to practice before you go on human beings. You first practice on dummies. You know, those are schools that have expensive equipment and facilities, but unfortunately I am not training at a university that is able to provide such things. So we go from not knowing how to do anything and like just being told with your mouth how to do it and going straight on the patient. And that was my biggest fear. And I thought, like, this is ridiculous. What do you mean I've never done this? And then now you want me to go straight and practice on the patient? I find that a bit absurd. And in my head, I'm like, there's no way this is allowed, guys. Are you sure this is allowed? What do you mean? You get my point? And I'm like, but other schools, and I was talking to, would I say friend? Let me say friend, right? I don't know what university is she at. I think she's at SMU in South Africa. And she was telling me, like, you know, the things that they have there, these dummies, even they practice first on things that are not humans, even suturing, they have these kits that you can practice suturing, even like small things like NGT tube. They don't just start on using it on a human being. They first like start using them on these dummies. You get my point? That if you know, like those dummies, like fake people, plastic people, and then at least you try certain procedures there. And then once you sort of know how to like maneuver it there, and at least you develop a technique, then you can start practicing it on humans. Now, in a resource-limited setting, you don't have that. You go from never being able to do a procedure to practicing on a human being. And in my head, I'm just like, this is an actual human being. If I do something wrong, I could hurt the patient, or the patient could die because of a mistake that I'm going to make. And that held me from like starting to do simple procedures like withdrawing blood, you know. And then I overcame the fear in fourth year. After 2 months of mind you, fourth year academically, it was 8 months. And we had 2 months in each rotation. So I literally spent a whole rotation without ever touching a patient. And the thing is, because we're so overcrowded, and there are a lot of students, probably with one doctor, you have like 60 medical students because it's not only our school. You get, there are also other universities that are doing their clinical rotations at the hospital because it's university teaching hospital. It's not only our school that's there. Even people from other schools are doing their clinical rotations there. So imagine you have one doctor who is overworked, underpaid, who's dealing with all the patients, and now that one doctor also has to deal with 60 students. He doesn't have that time to dedicate and give attention to all his patients and give attention to all his students. Do you get my point? So you are able to slip through the system. Like I went through an entire rotation, I finished, got good marks, and I never touched a patient. These are the disadvantages of working in settings where there is over-enrollment, you get. But then, never the case, after 2 months of my clinical rotations, I actually now started, I withdrew blood. I remember I was in, which department was I in? And there was a guy from Cavendish University. Oh, that guy, God bless his soul. He helped me so much. I went to him and I was like, you know, I haven't even withdrawn blood. It's been 3 months since we started working in the hospital. And I've never withdrawn blood. That's what I told him. And then he was like, Kimberly, why? And I told him like, yo, bro, I'm afraid. I'm afraid, like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? I'm really afraid of doing such a simple procedure. And now because if I can't even withdraw blood, I'm even afraid of saying what I want to be. How the hell am I going to perform a C-section when I can't withdraw blood? Do you get? And when I look at my classmates and my peers, they all seem like practically they're way ahead of me. They're way above me. You know, they can do all these procedures. But for some reason, I'm struggling all because I'm afraid. And the thing is, it's not like I tried and I failed. Do you get my point? That's the thing about fear. It will stop you from even trying. It's not like I tried and I failed and I made a mistake. No. I never even tried, but in my head, I thought that if I tried, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to hit the patient, I'm going to do this. And it's a real struggle, because how the hell are you going to be a doctor who can't do simple things? How the hell do you expect to even be able to do like a surgery when you can't do such a simple thing? So I started like doubting myself, like, is medicine even for me? Maybe medicine is not for me, because I'm not seeing people that are having the same fear as me. Maybe they do have the same struggles, but no one is talking about it. You get. So I told him, I was like, I'm really afraid. And then I finally got the courage. After like 3 months of working in the hospital, I've never touched the patients for 3 months, right? And then I go. I told him like, oh, when we knock off, can he stay a bit? I want to attempt to withdraw blood when these people are not there. And the thing is, because I was afraid of attempting while my fellow classmates were there because of the humiliation ritual in medical school. If you do not know something, one thing about medical school, especially here in Africa, they will humiliate you. I don't know why the doctors is like, they're rude, they're bitter, they're arrogant. I don't want to call them that. So I'm just going to say they're not so nice, but not all of them though. And they will humiliate you. Because I remember my first day in the hospital, first day. Okay, it wasn't me, but they were humiliating my fellow classmate, and I genuinely felt bad. And I was like, yo, so even if I try to do this, this is how they're going to talk to me. And I know I can't handle that. It's your first day in the hospital. You're fresh from home. You're fresh from preclinicals. You've never worked a day in the hospital in your life. Right? And mind you, I just told you about the limited resources. You've never even tried these procedures on a dummy. And the first day, they expect you to just come and try it on a patient. So there was obviously a brave guy in our group. He was like, you know what, let me try. Guys, the embarrassment they gave him. How did you even reach fourth year? Do you know that you're two years away from final year and you can't even do a simple procedure? You people are going to kill people. These are the doctors that kill people. And I'm like, bruh, it's our first day. We've never done this before. Where do you think we got the skills to start cutting people, to start handling babies, to start... Oh, because we were reading it in a book doesn't mean we're able to do it. Do you get my point? Like, we've never... Obviously, we have a fear. And the way that the doctors just respond, the humiliation ritual in medical school is so crazy. And it genuinely, for me personally, it discourages me from taking a chance. Do you get? And for the fact that I already had a fear of, I'm going to make a mistake and hurt the patient. And then the hostile and toxic environment in the hospital because of some of the medical doctors, the way they just embarrass you over a small thing, and they make you feel like you're dumb. They make you feel like you're going to kill people. They make you feel like you're not good enough to be in medical school. They make you feel like you're inferior. I'm like, oh. So I went, right, and then I tried the procedure. Okay, sharp. And I went with this guy, you go, the guy from Cavendish. And I went with him. He was there with me when I was doing. I was like, please, in case I make a mistake, just come with me, you know? And then he was just standing there. He was watching. I was like, Kim, go in. Just go in. Because I was withdrawing blood. He was like, go in. nothing is going to happen. Just go in. If something happens, I'll come and get it. Just go in. And I made sure that the nurses were not there because nurses are also problems. Nurses would be like, what year are you in again? 4th year. Oh, and you can't do a simple procedure like this. What do they teach you at your school? These doctors. And I'm like, you are making it worse. I am already struggling. I'm trying to overcome my fear and your comments. So that's how I literally just spent 3 months. Every time I wanted to try, I was like, you know what? It's fine. Let's give the people that know, let's give the people that know. And then I tried with that guy. He was like, okay, go in. Just go in. I tourniquet. I went in and then it was like, okay, once you start, okay, obviously when I went in, I was very gentle and he was like, can you push the needle inside? You won't see the blood. Once you see the blood, they just pull. And then I withdrew blood. Like my first attempt was not the complete mess that I thought in my head. And then after that, I started and he just encouraged me, just continue, you see? I started attempting, but I was attempting when no one was looking. Not I didn't we're doing in front of a lot of people now. I started doing and I was doing and I was doing. And I built confidence because I had a fear of needles, you understand? So I built my confidence and I was like, you know what? I got this. Until I went to the next rotation, right? And all the confidence I thought I had overcome the fear of performing simple procedures. We had a patient in surgery. She was very sick, very, very sick. She had a lot going on, a lot of infections, right? And her leg was rotting. For medical students, when I'm talking about gangrene, gangrene, you know how bad gangrene is. So for people that are not in the medical field, they'll call it rotting, you get? So her leg, entire leg was rotting, but it was gangrene. So because of that, they had to cut it off. So it was amputated so that that infection does not spread to the rest of the body. So they had to cut it off. So you can just imagine, when I say this lady had a lot going on, she had quite a lot of infections. She was sick. You get my point? And that's the patient that I was sent to withdraw blood. Now, remember, I have been building my confidence. And at this point, I'm like, bruv, what do you mean? What do you mean? Who am I? I go to withdraw blood. I make a mistake. Now remember, this whole time, I had my biggest fear for not touching patients was because I was afraid that I was going to hurt them and maybe cause them to get hurt or cause them an injury or maybe even, a mistake can kill in the hospital. I never thought of me getting hurt until that incident. I'm withdrawing blood from this woman who's sick, right? And then the needle that I used on her, I pricked myself. And if you know how certain diseases like blood-borne infections, your HIVs, your hepatitis B, name whatever STI you can think of that's so aggressive. People are always scared of HIV, but do you know that hepatitis B physically is more aggressive than HIV? And the place where we are at, the province where I'm in, it has the highest rates of HIV. It has the highest rates of hepatitis B. So we were supposed to be vaccinated against hepatitis B, but I skipped the vaccination and I think I wasn't here. So I wasn't vaccinated against hepatitis B. Mind you, it took me time to overcome the fear of touching patients. And then I thought I was gaining confidence. And now I'm back to square one. All right? I can't tell anyone. I'm embarrassed. Because I know if I just speak up, the nurses and the doctors will have me for lunch. They will have me for lunch. Now I don't know what to do. So my hands even start shaking. I have tears in my eyes. I'm even writing. I took the blood and then I gave my partner. I remember this guy in my class. We were cool. And I told him, I was like, can you finish up? I need to go to the bathroom. I went outside. And I just broke down. I started crying. And you know when you're in such a situation and you don't know what to do. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to get... Now the thing is, I don't even know her HIV status. But this woman, from the case that we've been seeing in the ward, we've been dealing with her. We know she's like, she's got some virus, a very aggressive infections. You get, for the fact that it was literally eating her leg up. I started crying. I didn't know what to do, because now I'm like, what if I'm gonna be sick? Do you know, like that's something that I never thought of. Do you get? Because do you realize that you could make a mistake as a doctor, right, with your patient, and that could cause you to have the disease that your patient has? And I never thought of that. The only thing I was scared of was I'm gonna make a mistake and kill the patient. I never thought of making a mistake that could cause me to get the disease that the patient has. I didn't know what to do. And mind you, the environment is not really supportive to open up about mistakes. And now, obviously, I'm like, I knew it. I should have never done this. What did I think I was doing? And I don't have anyone to talk to, right? I'm at the hospital. I've made a mistake. Now I think that I have the disease that the patient has. It can be very traumatic, guys. I know, like, right now I'm laughing about it, and maybe some medical students might think it's not that big of a deal. Because I remember when it happened to one of my classmates, she actually pricked herself with the needle that she used on an HIV positive patient that we all knew was HIV positive. And then she had to take like PrEP. PrEP, like prevent you from getting HIV. She had to take PrEP like for a full month and get tested for HIV regularly, just to prevent her from getting the HIV. Otherwise, she would have gotten the HIV. So I remember when it happened to her, she cried and broke down. Now, and I really didn't understand when I was watching her go through it. I was like, oh, I feel bad for her, but at least there's PrEP. When you are in the situation, there was no logic in my head. Now, instead of me, guess who's the first person I call? Guys, I am in Zambia. The first person I called to come and get me out of trouble was my mom. My mom didn't pick up. It was a missed call. And I was like, I called my dad. And then my dad. Now, the thing is, I think my dad was already alarmed. Because me and my parents, we don't really like call. You hear my point? Like, we don't call. We text, yeah, but calls. So even the way he answered, it was like, Kimmy. You get, my dad calls me Kimmy. Kimmy. And then I was like, hello, Daddy. He just knew. You get my point? He just knew over the phone. Mind you, my dad is in Mozambique. And you call your father while you're crying. It's going to like make him panic. Do you get? Because now his country is away. How the hell is he going to come and help you? What is going on? Now I can't even talk, guys. I'm like, I was I'm laughing now, but it's not funny. I can't even concentrate. I can't. And then I gather myself, and then I tell my dad. And then my dad is like, calm down. Go tell one of the nurses in the hospital, how much is it? You need to go for PrEP. Go buy PrEP. Go, And I was like shocked, like, my dad knows about PrEP. You get my point? I was like, okay, what if I have HIV? What if I have... yeah. And then my dad, like, he just told me to, like, go somewhere, go get help. You get my point? And then that was the first person I called, my parents. And I don't know what my parents were going to do, but, like, I don't know. Those were the first people I would call. And then when I went inside, I just wiped my tears. I got in. And then I decided to talk to the intern doctor. I was like, can I tell you something private? And then she was like, okay, she's very kind. I read the situation and I read the room and I saw the people that I could approach. And then she asked, like, we went in the room for where they do examination. And then she asked the people to leave. And then she just saw that, this girl, something is wrong. And then I told her that, you see that patient? And she's the one that sent me to withdraw blood there. But she didn't even know that once the mistake happened, I was just very quiet about it. And then I was like, oh, really? Oh, no, it's okay. I've also made mistakes like that. Don't worry, there's PrEP. Oh, and that woman, she's very sick, right? Let me go get, I don't remember what injection they gave me. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me call her nurse so that she can come and give you an injection to kill those bacteria in the bloodstream. They are very aggressive. So she gave me like a very strong injection. It was very, very painful. And then she told me to go home. And then she was like, okay. So, and then she went to check, she got the file of the patient. She checked, she was like, okay. But here she says that she's HIV negative, but it was never confirmed via blood. So we're going to take her blood. We're going to take your blood, take it for HIV testing. And then you're going to have to go to the clinic and start taking PrEP so that you don't get HIV and stuff. Guys, that was traumatic. I won't lie. Now that I'm talking about it, maybe it seems like it's something small because, like, imagine the lifestyle that I live, guys. I'm what you call boring. I live a very conservative lifestyle. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't go to parties. I don't go to clubs. I don't indulge in risky sexual behavior. Do you understand? Like, my life is very conservative. Now, imagine getting a very aggressive sexually transmitted diseases, not because of the way you're living your life. I feel like it's better if you know that I was sleeping around, now you have HIV, you at least you're okay, these are the consequences of my actions. But getting an aggressive disease is because you're trying to help a patient. That's that's a different kind of pain. And I started overthinking, and that's how I got where I am today. After that mistake that I made, did I touch a patient? It's now been more than 8 months since it happened, and I'm 2 months away from being a final year. I have not touched a patient. My fear is back of making a mistake. And now I'm afraid to try. I want to try because I'm going to be a final year. Final year requires you be doing most of the procedures. The juniors expect you to know. But here's the thing, I don't know. Because once that accident happened, I went back into my shell. And when you try to attempt now, 2 months away from final year as a first year, the doctors, they're not very nice people, most of them. And they're like, because I remember we were in theater, because right now I'm in theater. I'm in rotating in anesthesia. We're in theater. And I wanted to try, right? And then this doctor, she's a female. Who is the females? Not always though. I feel like male doctors are more nicer than female doctors, but not all the time. And then she's like, you're in 5th year. Are you sure you're in 5th year? Oh, what school are you from? This is what they teach you. These people kill people. And I'm like, I just stopped. I don't know. I don't know where they got this statement of telling students that you kill people. I don't know whether they think it's motivating or it's encouraging. Maybe I'm too soft and I'm too sensitive for medicine because that's what people always tell me. But like, I don't believe in looking down and breaking people to teach them. You bullying me, you looking down on me, you saying such statements, I don't think it encourages me to teach. For me personally, however, it is actually caused me to not attempt and just stay in my own box and stay in my own shell because I'm so afraid. Now I feel like all my classmates, when it comes to practicals, they are like literally at level 10, and I'm still at level 2. I'm struggling. You get my point? And now I feel I'm a bit afraid of attempting in 5th year because they're going to be like, in 5th year, you don't know how to withdraw blood, And I'm not in the mood for explaining myself, guys. Those people embarrass you and humiliate you. So I just don't attempt. So now in anesthesia, right? Every time they tell me to do something, inject a patient, what, cannulate or whatever, everything that has to do with a needle injection or whatever, I didn't know that our boss was noticing. And I always like, we have a class rep. I was like, they said that you should withdraw blood. And he's good at it. So he's very active. It's like, they say that you should. I'm always, even when they give me something to do, I give someone else. And I'm like, they say that you should, And then that other day, he was like, just last week, he was like, he gave me, and I was like, no, I want you to do it. I didn't know what to do. So I started fake coughing. Because when you're in theater, you can't be coughing and sneezing because they think that you're sick and you spread the infection in a very clean environment. And we don't want to breach sterility and whatever. Because you get my point. So I started fake coughing so that I could leave theater. I left theater. And then when I was sitting outside, he was like, whenever I give you something, you always give someone else. Why? I've never seen you. And then I told him, I was like, let me just tell him it's not that. He was like, no, I'm scared. I told him straight up that I'm scared. But he didn't make me feel like I'm stupid or inferior or dumb, And then you know what he told me? He told me that many students go through that, And I'm like, I told him I'm about to be in my final year and I don't really know a lot of practical things because I'm afraid. And then he told me that you will never, ever know how to do anything if you listen to what fear is telling you. Everyone here was afraid. Everyone here, they were afraid of handling people. They were afraid of You are never going to be great if you keep on listening to what your fear is telling you. And then he was like, what do you want to be? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I want to be? And then he was like, forget about the pressure that you're feeling. Forget about you not knowing. Forget what. Forget what. What do you want to be? You know? If you still want to be a doctor, then you're going to be a doctor. The advice that he gave me was, when if I'm not comfortable of trying and learning new things right now, he told me, number one, I should read the environment and just see the doctors that I can and cannot approach, you know. Because obviously some doctors are very, yeah. What do you mean? You cannot do this you get my point? And that's not going to, you won't learn like that. So he just told me, like, in every rotation that you go to, you have interns and doctors that you know that you can approach, right? Because they're approachable. You've seen how kind or whatever they are. Just read the room and know the doctors to go to. That's the one that he told me. And then he told me that when I knock off, let me just stay 30 minutes today. When everyone goes, just stay 30 minutes and just tell that, oh, I don't know how to do this. I want to learn. And you'll see how they'll teach you. You don't even need to stay for 4 hours when everyone goes home, or 5 hours. Just 30 minutes, you know. So last week Friday, I remained behind when my group left theater. And he was like, okay, come assist me in this procedure. And now I was the only student. Do you get? There's no, oh, let me pass off to this one. Let me pass it to this one. And it was like, okay, go in. This is what, do an IM. I'm like, I should inject the patient. But what if, like, the needle breaks? What if, you get my point? My head was just like, but then he told me, go in. It was like, go in. No, not at that angle. You know? It was like, okay, bend down, look down. That's how you do it. Yes, go in. And then I went in, you know, it was very, like, once I was in, guys, right? And I'm like, what exactly am I afraid of? What exactly? So I feel like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a purpose. And I was too hard on myself because of the fear that I have. And the fear that I had stopped me in as much as I want. You know, I want to do this, but I can't because of the fear that I have. And I'm really happy that I met this doctor in anesthesia, hey, you know. And I did listen to what he said. So I was very afraid of being the dumb final year that doesn't know how to do simple practical procedures, you know. People can be very judgmental. People are not very kind out there, you know. But now I feel better. And I'm really grateful that I crossed paths with this doctor, to be honest. Because he actually just, you know how a simple conversation can literally change your entire life. And yeah, guys, those are the struggles that I have, you know. Being a 5th year who doesn't know how to do a basic procedure like withdrawing blood because she was afraid of hurting the patient and she had an accident. So I don't know if other medical students are out there that have gone through the same thing. Or maybe you're going to be in medical school and you might go through the same thing. And you might feel as if your classmates are at one level and you're still here. And for me, I started feeling like, maybe medicine is not my calling. Maybe I'm not meant to be a doctor. Maybe these are all signs from the universe. You know, and I'm just here to tell you that don't quit because of that. You know, don't quit for the fact that your growth is not as fast as the growth of your peers. Don't quit because maybe your peers and your classmates, they are able to do certain things and you are still struggling with it. And it's not like you want to, but you're still struggling. Don't quit. Everyone's growth is different. I'm so happy that I got this advice because I'm definitely going to use it. And it's crazy because for maybe you guys, it might seem like it's something small, but for me, it's such a big thing, hey? Like when I gave an injection the other day, for the first time in my life, last week, in 5 years of medical school, when I felt so victorious, you know? And I'm like, where the hell was this man this entire time? These are the doctors that we need, you know, doctors that encourage you and nurture your passion. Because, this was eating me up and I was so embarrassed. Just literally felt like, maybe medicine is not for me. I'm not meant to be here. You know, I'm making a mistake. I should have done something else. How the hell am I going to be a surgeon? You know, I was even afraid of saying that I want to be a surgeon out loud because everyone's going to be like, you want to be a surgeon? You. Okay. But yeah, I hope this video reaches the right people and you guys just know that you're not alone, you know. You won't grow at the same pace as the person next to you, but it doesn't mean you are not growing. It doesn't mean that you're not meant to be a doctor. It doesn't mean you're going to be a bad doctor or you're going to kill people. I would like to think that fear of, attempting, especially in medical school, because like the life of the patient is in your hands, and you could make a mistake and come out on the news that you've killed the patient. But then again, you could also attempt and not kill the patient and actually help the patient. So yeah, I'm still overcoming my fear. I haven't fully overcome. I'm 2 months away from being a final year. And I'm now excited to be a final year because I'll definitely take his advice. I'll definitely put in the extra hours and look at the intern doctors, because I have a good relationship with from 4th year with some of the intern doctors, because even when I see them in town, we have a conversation and we what. So I think I have a good relationship. But they're no longer interns now, they're senior doctors. So I feel like I have a good relationship with them. I can maybe just go to them and be like, can I come after an hour and I want you to teach. I don't know how to do this because I was really afraid, but I want to learn. They won't deny you. They won't laugh in your face like other people. Just know the doctors to approach. That's another important thing. But yeah, guys, that is part of my journey of becoming Dr. Kim. And I feel better now that I've opened up about that. Yeah, maybe some people might think that I'm not meant to be a doctor. Maybe I'm not good enough. But I think I am going to make a good doctor one day, regardless of the challenges, that might be small to other people, but for me were very, very big. So, yeah,